Okay, today we will start. I hope you're hearing me out, but okay, one, two, three. Today we will start a series, a 30-day learning series of SQL, as part of which we'll go through a couple of books. So, the books that I'm going through, so the one book that I'm going through would be this one, T-SQL Fundamentals, T-SQL Microsoft SQL Server 2008. 2008 T-SQL Fundamentals. So this is the book that I'm going through for now. It is not that I'll just talk about from this book, but this is the first book that I'm starting with. So with that said, I've done my 40 minutes of learning today, and I'll give a summary of what I've come across and things that I did take away uh, from today's learning. So with that said, I've got SQL Server installed, and I've also installed my SSMS here. So with that said, so we will commence day one of SQL now. Okay. One thing, if I take away from today's learning, it would be SQL control flow. So now what's SQL control flow? Let's look at the above query. If you're very new to SQL and you do not know anything about SQL, that is fine. I'm not. I wouldn't say that this would be a beginner series, but if you know SQL even a little, you know some basic queries, this would really help you. So if you see what are we doing here is I have a table called customers. Let me query the table called customers. Customers. And you see I've got some data here. Now the point is this is a set of customers, and yeah, each customer belongs to a country. Now all I want to do is get a list of uh, countries that I have in my customer table and the number of customers who belong to each country. So for example, I'd like to know the number of customers who belong to Germany, number of customers who belong to Mexico, number of customers who belong to UK. And how would I do it? I would use the group by function. Group by to basically group this whole table by the country, and then um, I'll use the having operator to basically get. So here, this is not required. I am I just want to explain the control flow better, and therefore I'm using having. So also I want only those countries that have more than one customer associated to them. So how would I get? So I'd simply say, rather than start with select, I would do it this way: from customer, okay, from the customer table, group it by a country, and I have this ID is a unique ID against each customer, having the count of ID greater than 1. So when you say the count of ID, it would be the count of ID against this group. So in each group, uh, the number of customers would be the count of ID. Okay. So now from there, I want to project this query into a separate table. Now how would I do it? I would select information from this clause, from this field, into country and count of ID. This would give me the country and the number, the count of ID against that, the count of customer ID or the customers in that country. And let me call this customers from that country. Now when I do this, this is what I get. So if you see, Argentina has got 3 customers, uh, Austria has got 2, Belgium 2, Brazil 9, Canada 3, and this is what I get. I would name it a little differently. I can simply say customer count. Okay. Now that, if you see, let's say I want all those countries that have got minimum 5 customers. Okay. Now what would I do? I'll simply increase it to 5. Create one equal to 5. So what would I have? So if you see, all the countries that you have here, country against the count, uh, Mexico more than 5, equal to 5, Spain 5, France 11, Germany 11, and all that. Now if you see, I am using the same customer count here in the having, but rather than using this alias name, I am directly using count 5. So for simplicity, let me simply take this and put it here. See what happens. Now, when I run this, you'll see that it's throwing an error called invalid column customer count. Now, why is that? To understand this, you'll have to understand SQL control flow. Now, what's SQL control flow? SQL control flow is that mechanism that SQL server uses to execute a given query. Now, when you run this query, what happens is, this is how the query is executed. The first thing that it does is it executes the from phase. Okay. Later, first it executes the from phase, and this is how you write comments in SQL, dash dash, or if you want to write a multi-line comment, you go slash star star slash. Okay. First it executes from, and then it executes group by or where, if you have there. So whatever comes after from, okay, is executed first. Okay, from, and then whatever follows from. Okay, if you just want where country equals country like Mexico. So, okay, so still successful. You can say something like where country like Mexico, and then it would execute where, and then group by, and later having, and after that called select. So this is the control flow. Just one thing that we're missing here. Now let me remove the where clause. I can also add a constant. And here, if you see, if I keep this again, now let me order it by the customer count. Okay, order by how this works. Basically, semicolon ends a SQL statement, so you should have the semicolon at the end. Most people don't use semicolon. That's fine. Now, if you see, the SQL query is not throwing any error when you use the alias names in the order by statement. Now, that is because order by is the only clause, only fees or only clause that is executed after select, and therefore order by can use the aliases created in the select state. So I hope you understood the control flow. I'll go through it again very quickly. Whatever comes after from other than order by is taken first, then select and then order by. Okay. So whatever comes after from where group by having select group by having, and then after everything is done, you go to select, you project it, and then order by. So that's uh, a query is executed by SQL Server. So that is all for today. See you tomorrow again, day 2 of SQL learning, and we'll talk about distinct and wo- how should you use order by when you're using distinct in your SQL query. So we'll talk about table, we'll talk about what cursor is, we'll talk about sets and all that. So again, if you're very new to this, still you'll be able to follow things. Just this is all I'm trying to do is create a 30-day series of videos. I know this video could be shitty, but that's what I want to do. Okay, I just want to create content. That's all. Um, Thank you if you're here.